What's up, everyone? Welcome to Simulation. I'm your host, Alan Sakyan. We have a very important topic that we are talking about today. We are going to be talking about the Me Too movement. We're going to be talking about Kavanaugh, and this is a really important conversation. And I really want us to take a moment to take a breath, just drop into our body, into our heart. Be one with ourselves, be one with everything around us, and let's enter this conversation together, peacefully, calmly, in a nuance-driven way. Me Too is arguably the biggest social progress towards respect and towards equality of opportunity of the 21st century. And that's massive so far, that we've gotten to the point that we have. And I'm very happy that we're progressing towards respect and equality of opportunity. And I hope you are too, because that's the only way forward. We're transcending past superiority and egos, and we're moving towards a state of love, respect, and equality of opportunity. So we haven't gotten to where we are today without a lot of trauma on Earth. Ever since we really gained greater cognitive capabilities, we've been in lots of war and suffering and pain to get to where we are today. And that trauma needs to be integrated. So we need to openly have integrated that trauma in a loving and peaceful way into our essence, so that way we can move forward most effectively. We've had tons of wars, from even back in the earliest days when we discovered territory and turf, that this land all of a sudden became my land, to this decaying flesh vehicle that's going to die in 80 years all of a sudden owns the land on Earth. It's very egotistical to think about things in that sense. And then we started killing other people for their land. We started killing other people that didn't agree with us, that don't believe in the same deity or ideas that we do. These are divine beings that we're murdering for things. We have a long way to go to get to a point of transcending the ego and becoming one and loving and respecting each other on Earth. But we got to get there together. What else came with territory? We had stone weaponry, we had steel, we had guns, nukes over time. So ever since we gained these greater cognitive capabilities, we've been murdering each other. And we still see it today with manifest destiny and with imperialism, this feeling of superiority. We're not at peace, and we must truly strive for peace. And we got to stop funneling money into war and collectively funnel money into peace, love, real education. And looking back at some of the ancient civilizations, in some ways they were actually more connected to their divinity than we are today in this insane economic and political machinery that we live in. More time to focus on their spiritual blueprint, their soul's actualization, than we do today when we're running around trying to barely piece together the finances needed in order to pay for our basic living expenses. So what does this world look like where we envision a stronger social fabric, infrastructure, real education, community support systems, where people are actually actualized to their fullest potential, and we progress harmoniously, symbiotically with Earth? And I'm going to give you these examples of these traumas that we've went through, and I want to integrate these into our lives. I'm going to give specific ones because I gave the broader ones with the sort of stone tools, steel tools, nuclear weaponry, and We gave these examples earlier. And that was a very broad global sense. Now I want to talk about specific ones in the United States. A lot of our viewership is from the United States. Also, a lot of people from around the world watch and understand a little bit about United States manifest destiny and history of how we got here and what we've done. But since we've gotten here, we've done things like the Trail of Tears, where we've moved Native Americans that were on this land, worshiping, living on this land, and loving harmoniously on this land before us. And we murdered 10,000 plus of them on the way of migrating them across the United States into reservations. We need to integrate that trauma openly, lovingly, caringly. Same thing with the Mexican-American War, where we came and we took over the land in the southern and southwestern part of the United States as part of manifest destiny and fought for that. Again, land that had been lived on for long periods of time prior to us. We need to integrate that openly. Slavery and segregation. The North Atlantic slave trade moved 12.5 million people from Africa to United States, Caribbean, Europe, and that is insane that that many humans were moved in a slave trade. That is insane. That's so much that we have to integrate peacefully into our lives again, harmoniously and lovingly and caringly integrate that and make it so that we can peacefully move forward, because that is some serious thing that happened. And the segregation that we had in our schools and in public areas, this is insane. And it used to be an ethical norm back then to have slaves. And we have to move forward and we have to integrate this peacefully. Women's suffrage. The fact that only around 1920 did women gain the right to actually vote. Why did it take us that long? And how can we best move forward integrating women as equal, as respect towards women, giving equality of opportunity? How can we do that? Japanese internment camps during World War II, the Middle East today, we're still meddling. We're still propagating war. How do we propagate peace? How do we propagate love? All of this is trauma that needs to be integrated about how we got to where we are today with Sea to Shining Sea. And don't get me wrong, there are still places in the world that are doing this incorrectly. 2018 and we still see genitalia mutilation because that's a pleasure. It's a pleasure system, and if we can cut that genital for a female, then she can't experience pleasure. That is still okay. That there are still women that are treated like property. That there are still women that have assigned marriages happening to them in their family systems for money and for property. They're having assigned marriages. We had the one-child policy in China where women were just thrown away. The young babies that are girls are thrown away and they keep the boys. These are very serious global traumas that still occur today or that have been occurring in just the last few years that we need to peacefully integrate and move forward with new strategy on respect and equality. Letting people actualize their divine blueprints. It's not healthy when we have megalomaniacs, people that are obsessed with power and greed, that are controlling and puppeteering the economic and political machinery. We must fight back against that. One last example of today's trauma is something that is getting very close to my heart, as there are 1.1 million people suffering from this today. It is the Rohingya ethnic and religious persecution in Myanmar, where the state counselor, Aung San Suu Kyi, she's a Nobel Peace Prize laureate, And she isn't taking action on what's going on with the Rohingya people being ethnically and religiously prosecuted and moved from their land in Myanmar, and they're being refugees and moving to Bangladesh. 700,000 people in just the last year and 300,000 in the years before that. So the president of Bangladesh at the United Nations just said there are 1.1 million Rohingya refugees in Bangladesh now. And the World Bank in June 2018 put $500 million into helping health, education, water, sanitation, disaster risk management, and social protection. The Kutu Palong refugee camp is packed. It's not healthy. It's bad energy. We're not actualizing humans. We are creating more suffering. And we need to actualize these humans. We need to provide them with basic necessities for them to become healthy, happy, and living fruitfully. And we can't have things that are happening on our planet where we're still religiously and ethnically prosecuting. We need to integrate this trauma that's happening today still into our lives. We need to solve these problems collectively. We need to transcend our egos and feelings of superiority. So the US is still in some ways at the forefront of recovering from the trauma. So now we're going to show some of the recovering. Me Too is actually calling out the bad instances with integrity. And enthusiastic consent culture is crucial moving forward. When you're with someone and you're playing with them and you're hoping that you may escalate to something that is consensually agreed upon as exciting, sex, intimacy, the good stuff, that you really have to consensually agree with enthusiasm. Not the and not the no, but the yes, the hell yes for both of you. And I don't think that millennials and Gen Z and beyond will have this problem. I think that we are born into the digital footprint era, and we can't afford to transparently have bad marks on our records. So technology has created trust in this sense. I don't think we're going to have as much of this issue moving forward because of these digital blueprints. So I heard the definition of feminism as women are human and should be treated as such. That's a rockin' definition. I think all men and women can get behind this. All humans can. We can get on board with not objectifying. When we see attractive men or women, we have to think of their soul. This has really helped me. Who they are as an individual, what their aspirations are in life. Think of their heart, not their body. This helps a lot. And if there are men and women who want to be objectified, carefully check in and get to know that people are okay with that before doing so. Almost all people don't like feeling unsafe. Please help make sure people don't feel unsafe. We must also admit that there are deceitful people who are attempting to rise up the fame hierarchy. This type of lying for fame has been happening since we gained these cognitive abilities, but it's being scrutinized now more than ever because they can achieve global recognition and really can get paid for tearing down people's careers. Using Me Too honestly is crucial to the success of empowering men as allies and actualizing the full potential of women in this divine feminine transition we're going through. And we talked about this divine feminine transition on our last Women in Alliance event. Women want respect, but more than that, they want equality of opportunity. All humans deserve respect and equality of opportunity. It's tough to say all because someone could literally be coming at your throat with a knife and they still deserve enough respect to get them to medical treatment to aim to help with their problem. So feel what is occurring with women stepping up into leadership roles around the world. I feel really good about this. Yesterday, I connected with very powerful female leadership in the sciences and entrepreneurship and academia, and I was so honored. They have worked their asses off to make tremendous impact on the world, and I have so much respect for when I got to pass time with them. It was a beautiful thing, and we can have that respect for women that have achieved greatness in the world, and it's so important to have that deep, honest love, care, respect for that. So think about this. If we are living in a world, a civilization that's evolved as a simulation, let's say, and in this simulation, we've had a patriarchy. We've had a patriarchy. So what is the good that's come from the patriarchy and what is the bad? Now imagine a simulation where we've had a matriarchy. What would be the good that would come from the matriarchy and what would be the bad? And what I'm asking us to do is to smash together the good from the patriarchy, the good from the matriarchy into one civilization of balance and of love, respect, equality of opportunity. Let's get there together. So remember, we got to integrate the trauma. We got to propagate peace and love. And we have to have respect and equality of opportunity for all. Huge thank you for tuning in. Go create, go and build, go and manifest your destiny. Thank you so much. Much love.